Hey guys, welcome to another video. And today we're going to talk about Star Wars Resistance and how the time slot is kind of late. The reason why I'm saying the time slot is kind of late because when it airs on Disney Channel in under 2 months, it's going to air at 10 o'clock at night. And I feel like that's too late because since it's geared for kids, it seems like compared to based from the trailer, is geared for younger audience than the Clone Wars and Rebels was. Even the and 2D Clone Wars show seemed to be for older uh audience than Resistance. And on top of the for the first trailer for Star Wars Resistance looking like eh, which would, which I doubt. Based on what I've seen in the Star Wars Resistance trailer, there it grabbed less people's interest than they were hoping for. I'm one of those people that it failed to grasp the intent, the interest in watching. Like, it doesn't wow me. I wish it did, but it doesn't wow me. Uh, but Star Wars Resistance, I am going to watch it, give it a fair chance. I'm going to give it 2 seasons worth. At least I will try to wow me, see if it's kind of like worth it. But I'm going to most likely see it on like YouTube. If it does come out on YouTube, like full on episodes comes out on YouTube. But on top of like the lack of fans that it will get, which for a Star Wars show, for Star Wars, seems like there's going to be like barely anybody watching based from the trailer. The time slot that it takes isn't going to help boost the audience members. Maybe if it was at like 7 o'clock, maybe, or 6 o'clock, it will, or 5 o'clock, it will boost the chances of people watching that show. Because it is on a kids channel, and like I said earlier in the video, seems to be more geared for kids than the Rebels series and the Clone Wars series. Both versions of the Clone Wars. And when I was going to school, before I was homeschooled, 90% of the time, I would go to bed by 8. Not 10, but by 8. Of course, as I got older, I started to stay past 8. But that's not my point. My point is, based from my experience, if in the old days when I was growing up, when I was heavily into those kid shows, if I went to bed at 8 o'clock at night, unless if you put the Star Wars Resistance show on reruns, I can't see Star Wars Resistance getting that many views. Forgetting about the trailer for a second and just focusing on the time slot. Uh, and again, my views, my opinions about the show, basing off the trailer, Sorry, I'm just moving some stuff for my cat. Uh, I can't see this show running for a good while. And like 2 days before the trailer hit, Dave Filoni, the guy who made Star Wars Rebels, Star Wars The Clone Wars, said, "Oh yeah, in, I'm not really involved with this on a daily basis," which probably indicates that he knows the show sucks. And I might not like all the episodes in Star Wars Rebels, Star Wars The Clone Wars, but overall, both shows I will gladly watch multiple times. I've already seen The Clone Wars, the entire series, about 3 times already. Maybe 4 times. For me, when it comes to Star Wars, that's not much. But The Clone Wars and Rebels were great shows. That, like I said just now, I will gladly watch multiple times. And my brother and father kind of gets on me saying, how many times, well, mainly my father says, how many times have you watched Star Wars in general? Like, most of the time when I rewatch stuff, whether it's Star Wars or shows at the Arrowverse, primarily Arrow, he asked me, how many times have you seen this? My, and my brother kind of gets in the fun as well sometimes. My response, besides telling them up front, I watched this show X amount of times, I usually tell them, and trying to sound like, oh, in my usual witty self, who cares? Like, going back to Star Wars, as I said before, in some old videos, if I could ask Star Wars out, if Star Wars was a girl, I would totally ask Star Wars out. Probably get rejected because Star Wars would be way out of my league, but I would still ask Star Wars out. Star Wars as Anna from that Star Wars girl, which I totally advise you guys watching some of her videos on her YouTube channel, which is that Star Wars girl. She said Star Wars is more than just a movie. It's part of her. And to that, I am the same way. Star Wars to me is more than a movie. It's a part of me. It has taught me so many lessons in my life that I wouldn't have learned as soon as I did, that maybe my parents, brother and sister, and anyone in my life, including this little guy, I doubt could teach me as well as Star Wars has in some cases. But overall, forgetting about the time slot for a second, focusing on the trailer, it seems like barely anyone will be watching Star Wars Resistance. I'm going to watch it to give it its fair chance, like I'm slowly watching the Ninja Turtle Next Mutation show, which I feels like my brain cells are getting murdered by watching that show. I'm going to give Star Wars Resistance a chance. I mean, it has a lot to live up to with Star Wars compared to Star Wars Rebels, Star Wars Clone Wars. And solely based on the trailer itself, seems like barely anyone will be interested or is going to see the Resistance show because it wasn't all too interesting. And one of the posters where you see the rebels just walking, it wasn't impressive. It didn't grab me into the show. Like the first posters for the Clone Wars, the first poster of the Star Wars Rebels pulled me into the show even more, on top of the trailers. And the time slots were reasonable. And seeing it off the time slot, yeah, I have a feeling even less fans will see the show. Now, hopefully, I am wrong, and hopefully, there will be more people who gives this show a chance. I'm going to be one of those people who gives the show a chance. But even though the marketing seem, seems to be, pretty much the same as Solo Star Wars Story. So with Solo Star Wars Story, the marketing per se came 3 months before the movie came out, and I feel like that's also a factor in why the box office for Solo a Star Wars Story suffered, which I believe I dedicated an entire video of why I believe Solo a Star Wars Story box office crashed. But if they don't step up their game in terms of their marketing, and I'm mainly saying this in terms of the trailers, then barely anyone will see the Star Wars Resistance show. And if they want more viewers to come in, then they need to bump the slot time from 10 to like 7, 6 o'clock p.m. Shoot, even 8. If I was younger, if one of my shows came on 8, even though I usually went to bed at 8 when I was going to school before I was homeschooled, and if it was half an hour, like I'm pretty sure Resistance is, I'm pretty sure my parents would say, okay, Philippe, you can't stay up to watch this show on Sundays. Now, if the show was on Saturdays or Fridays and it was on at 10 o'clock, then it wouldn't really make any difference, really. But seeing how it's on a Sunday night at 10 o'clock, where the next day kids have school, not the best plan, not the best approach, Disney. That's just me. But even though I'm not exactly excited for the Star Wars Resistance show, especially since it's supposed to be like 6 months before the events of The Force Awakens, which is too close. I feel like it should be 6 months prior to 6 years prior to the Force Awakens events. Or maybe they're trying to like bleed. Maybe after the first season, maybe they're trying to have the second season pick off after the events of The Last Jedi. I don't know. But I think 6 months before the events of Rebels is, I mean, The Force Awakens is too close. But even though I'm not excited for the series, because the trailer didn't spark any excitement or interest per se for me to watch the show, or motivation to watch the show, I'm still going to watch that show to give it a fair chance. Like I said, I retract my statement before when I said I give it the first 2 seasons. I'll give it at least season 1, possibly season 2. If it doesn't wow me by the time season 2 comes, ends, most likely in 2019 or 2020, then I'm sorry, Disney. I'm sorry, Lucasfilms, but I'm not gonna watch that show. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and please give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, and please subscribe if you haven't. Please subscribe, please like, and may the force. Wait, I want to end this stream as I say it in sketch mode. And may the force be with you. Oh look, I like my name in comic book. Yeah. But may the force be with you all. Be with us all, I should say. Okay, ending this video in 3, and a 2, and a 1.